What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. Welcome to a new episode, a new version of our show. Of course, it is Saturday. It is January 19th, and it is high noon, at least here on the West Coast of the United States. It does happen to be noon. Of course, we do have a lot of people that typically join us from the UK where they are in the evening, and so it could vary depending on where you happen to be. All right, so what's going to go on in today's show? Well, I got to tell you, not a ton of stuff is popping off right about now, but we do have a few minor news stories to get into, but I am expecting a bit of a shorter show today. I don't feel the need to extend these shows longer than they need to be. So, if this only takes 25 minutes, it only takes 25 minutes, but we'll just go ahead and go through here and see what we're doing. All right. So let me see here. Let me get my news story situated. And, okay. So the number one story of the day, we're going to go ahead and switch over here to our Webby browser window, and this is one of the stories that's kind of making the rounds on various tech websites. And I think all of this is stemming from the fact that Business Insider had a report that Facebook has moved hundreds of employees into a new division. And so there seems to be this idea that something is imminent, like they wouldn't have done this, the timing of it means something, like they're creating this new AR department over there at Facebook. And I guess a lot of people are assuming that they're about to unveil some type of AR headset, that they actually have an AR headset that they may be unveiling in the near future. And they're getting their ducks lined up. They're moving these people into this new division, and they're kind of doing that. And so if you go to all the different various tech websites over anywhere around the internet, a lot of them have some kind of story about Facebook's upcoming AR glasses. It's starting to catch a little bit of traction. The truth of the matter is, a lot of these stories don't actually have much substance behind them. It's mostly a title, a screenshot, and then basically like a reference to Business Insider. And of course, if you go over to Business Insider, you need to have an actual subscription. They're going with this old school model of, yeah, pay us money so that you can read our articles. Like, does that actually work? Question for those of you that are in chat right now. Do any of you pay money on a monthly basis, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a yearly basis? Does anybody pay money to read stories on the internet? Like, does that model actually work? Because apparently Business Insider is going with that model. Like, you cannot read that story unless you pay some kind of money, which I think is asinine. But I don't know, maybe that business model is actually working. So anyway, this is Upload VR's story on the topic, and report Facebook's upcoming AR glasses much less bulky than HoloLens or Magic Leap. So, one of the things that I've talked about, yeah, everybody's saying no, 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 an extra double no with a cherry on top. Nobody is paying money for online news sources. I mean, you probably got to be about 65 years old and think this is the only way that you're going to get the key news that you want to do it. And, either we're not 65 years old yet, or we're just not going down that road. But yeah, so what they're talking about here, one of the things Conrad Lawrence is paying money for Wired, but he does get the magazine as well. So you do have something that you can throw into your bathroom, a physical object. Actually, I used to really like Wired magazine. I remember Wired magazine, especially in like the late 90s, the early 2000s. I think I may have had a subscription to Wired for a short period of time. And I did like Wired magazine, and it, pretty decent paper stock and stuff like that. I used to really like magazines in general. Unfortunately, magazines are like extinct for the most part. I mean, they really don't exist. But I used to really be a magazine guy like back in the days, and I remember classic magazines, like video game magazines in the 90s. Oh my God, man. There was this time, folks, before the internet, back when the dinosaurs roamed the land, there was this time where I would go to my mailbox and I would get a brand new issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly, or a brand new issue of Die Hard Game Fan, or a brand new issue of Next Generation. And I would take that issue out of the mailbox and I'd be like, oh man, this is awesome. This is so incredible, man. And then, you know, you get inside your house and you start thumbing through it. And then on page 78, oh my God, brand new pictures of the Nintendo 64, you know, or whatever it was. But magazines were actually a thing back in the day. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so let's get back to this story, though. I digress. Let's get back to this story. Now, the source, apparently there's a source at Business Insider that has actually tried on these prototype AR glasses that are under development at Facebook. And the source claims that they resembled a traditional pair of glasses much more closely than the bulky AR headsets offered by Microsoft or Magic Leap. And I've said it many a times that HoloLens is kind of bulbous. Now, Magic Leap got away from the bulbous idea. And the way they did that is with their little puck, their technology puck that you clip onto your belt. And it's the same thing that InReal is doing. InReal is doing basically the same exact thing. They've got a little puck. They call it Toast. And InReal, they definitely look very, very much like you're wearing a pair of Wayfarer glasses, or, you know, just your typical sunglasses. And so apparently this is the way Facebook is going with their internal design. They look like really high-end glasses, the source said, adding it's light enough to not feel heavy on your face, and it wasn't light enough to feel like you could just sit down on them and just snap them in half. So it's kind of that perfect range right in there where they're super light, but not so light that they feel cheap and lame. Okay, so what are they talking about here? A new AR product team. The report notes that hundreds of employees, hundreds. Now, if this is actually legitimately correct, if this is true reporting here, if hundreds of employees were moved out of Facebook Reality Labs, which formerly was Oculus Research, into a new special AR division that is going to be led by Michael Abrash and Boz. You know, Boz used to play for the Seahawks, but now he's moved on. Abrash is also going to continue to lead Facebook Reality Labs as chief scientist, so he's going to pull double duty here. But if hundreds of employees really have moved into a new building, then yeah, something probably is imminent. I would have to imagine something is probably imminent from a standpoint of we are going to be approaching GDC. And maybe, you know, maybe if you're going to kind of like grease the runway a little bit, maybe you come out right before GDC or right during GDC and you talk about these AR glasses as a future product, as a product that is not coming right now here in this year of 2019. Let's remember, the year of 2019 is the year of the Oculus Quest. And Facebook doesn't want to F that up. They know that. However, if they are going to be developing an AR platform, and if they're getting really big into AR, they might want to grease the runway a little bit. They might want to get developers understanding this and being aware of it and kind of starting the seeding program and starting to find some indie developers and some smaller developers that they can work with to kind of develop that initial library of software that might arrive with this thing whenever it possibly arrives. But honestly, we have almost no information other than these hundreds of employees that are moving over. So it's kind of a non-story, but you know, we are seeing this appear everywhere. Greg's VR says Boz is still waking up in cold sweats about Bo Jackson. Oh man, Techno Glitch hit the dislike button. That is not... No, actually, that's cool. That is cool. Honestly, I would much rather have a dislike than nothing. You know, dislikes or likes, it's all good. And you know, Greg's VR, see, I am a Seahawks fan, and I've been a Seahawks fan for a long time, even back in the days of the Boz. And yes, there was a famous game where the Oakland Raiders played the Seattle Seahawks, and Bo Jackson ran over Bosworth on his way into the end zone, and it was a famous thing. And then there was also a play where Bo Jackson ran for like a 100-yard touchdown, and he kept running all the way into the tunnel at the Seahawks, you know, dome stadium that they had at that time. And it was a big famous thing. So yeah, that is, but Bosworth has moved on. He's very heavily involved in AR now. Okay, so what is the next story that we have? Well, we are on a bit of a light news day here, so not a ton of news is popping off, but we have heard something about Fast Travel Games. Fast Travel Games is a developer of Apex Construct, and they've been talking about PlayStation VR sales, that there has been an explosion recently in PlayStation VR sales. So let's go ahead and go to this next article here. This is on Road to VR. Apex Construct Studio, big boost in PSVR installs thanks to recent increase in headset sales. And so Fast Travel Games CEO Oscar Berman tweeted recently, let's go ahead and click on this tweet and check it out. So this is the current split in Apex Construct sales. 58% of the sales are coming directly from PlayStation VR, 23% from Steam, and 19% from the Oculus Store. So you can tell that PSVR is where your bread is buttered for a lot of these developers. One thing we have to remember, though, is let's remember the fact that Apex Construct was temporarily an exclusive for the PlayStation VR for like maybe 45 days, and then it bounced over to PC VR, and it was available on Steam and Oculus and all of that. But the bulk of their sales have come on with PSVR, and more recently, apparently, the bulk of the sales have been even more recent. So let's see what else they're talking about here. PlayStation has taken an even bigger share since last time I shared numbers, which is what to expect considering indications of strong PSVR sales in 2018. But the VR market as a whole is clearly growing too. December was one of the best months ever for Apex. So my guess is a bunch of people found a new VR HMD under the Christmas tree. This is all good news. You know, this is very good news. Basically, it's a sign. See, here's the thing. PSVR got off to a relatively slow start, but it's really started to pick up steam. And you have stuff like Beat Saber, you've got Borderlands 2, you've got Astrobot, you've already got Resident Evil and all this stuff. And flat gamers are starting to get exposed to a little bit of this stuff. Flat gamers are starting to hear about Moss, you know, they're hearing about Superhot. They're hearing about this stuff kind of on the sidelines to a degree, but it's starting to sink in slowly but surely, and a lot of people have added PlayStation VRs very, very soon. It's going to be interesting to see if we get a breakdown from Sony just how many more VR headsets have been added. But, you know, it's taking some time. It is a slow climb, but it does appear to be like we got some good news that's going on in terms of VR headset sales, at least in PSVR, but we often mention that a rising tide lifts all boats. We really love that phrase. Okay, what is our next story? Now, this is an incredibly huge story, breaking news, earth-shattering news, to be honest. So let's go ahead and get to this. I mean, we're talking major. Okay, let me go ahead and get this trailer on the screen so I can make this special announcement and make it live. Okay, folks, so there is a game by Fast Travel. I was saying the old story there. Okay, there is a game by a company called Fair Games Studio. They are the developer of Protocol, and they have a game called Adoption. Or at least they did have a game called Adoption The name has been changed. This is the trailer that is running on the screen. This was a game that was supposed to arrive, I believe, in December, I think, of 2018. It didn't make that, and now it's kind of just like a first quarter 2019 game. It is called Adoption. It is by Fair Game Studios, developers of Protocol. Let's go ahead and bounce over, hold on one sec here. Let's go ahead and bounce over to the Steam page, which has changed. So we're going to go over here to the Steam page. So as you can see, we do have a name change here. It is now called Loco Parentis. Loco Parentis. So we do have a name change, and you might think, wow, that's a very odd name. And I gotta tell you, I love their logo, but I liked it better when it said adoption on there. But they have a well-reasoned argument for why they've made their name change. But anyway, this is a PC plus VR co-op horror game where you have to help a little girl find her mother and figure out what is really happening in your house and who your neighbors really are. This is by Fair Game Studio. It is available at some point in 2019, but it caught my eye when it had this name change. I was like, why are they changing their name? So let's go ahead and click on this part right here. We decided to change the name of our game Adoption. Why? Okay. So not so long ago, Gwyneth sent an email to us. This woman has adopted children, one of whom is experiencing incredible difficulties with the knowledge that he's been adopted, and he even has suicidal thoughts because of this. Gwyneth is very concerned that her child is suffering. Here is what she writes. I beg you to change the name of your game. It is not only inappropriate in combination with pictures and advertising, but also dangerous for an incredibly vulnerable group of children. Although I am grateful that you do not express any negative views about the very word adoption, but using this word in the context of a lost child is harmful, as is the image. Foster children often blame themselves for the terrible things that adults have done to them. Therefore, any images that contain the word adoption, a child, and scary evil images are a danger to them. So anyway, they decided to change the name. And honestly, you know, I mean, that makes sense. I think the other name kind of popped a little bit better. But I mean, you know, hey, if you have a heart and you get a letter like that from a concerned parent, and, you know, you decide to change the name. So they changed the name to Loco Parentis. So, yeah, this kind of shows you guys that the stories for today are a bit light. They are a bit light when this is one of our leading stories, a name change. Adoption is now Loco Parentis. So what does Loco Parentis mean anyway? Let me see if I can look this up. Is this like a Greek term or something, or like a Latin phrase? Oops, let me see. Hold on a second here. I'm screwing up. Maybe it's like a Latin phrase for kind of what adoption means in Latin or something. Loco Parentis. To me, it sounds like crazy parents, like loco, crazy. Latin for, in the place of a parent, refers to the legal responsibility of a person or organization to take on some of the functions and responsibilities of a parent. Okay, so that's what it means. I would just think crazy parent, a crazy parent. The term loco parentis, Latin for in the place of a parent. Yeah, okay, that's what we got there. All right, yeah, that is a big news story that we got, breaking news. All right, let's go ahead and head back over Snowflake-itis. Greg's VR, Snowflake-itis. Break out that mega hat, Greg's VR. All right, let's go back to our standard scene real quick here. And you know what? I did try a game. Well, I don't know that it's a game. It's more of an experience. It's trippy, brah. It is straight up trippy, brah. And I tried this experience just a couple of days ago. And you know what? I was really, really impressed by it for about the first 17, 18 minutes of this experience. And then it put my brain on tilt. And after that, I had to get out of there. But let me tell you guys what I'm talking about. So I'm going to pop this on the screen. So here it is. I mean, look at, this is triptacular. Do not take this if you are about to engage in some psychoactive substances, I guess we could say here. It's almost like this game. This game is designed to either A, enhance you already going into a psychoactive substance scenario, or B, make you understand what other people feel when they are going through psychoactive substances. And it is called Visionarium. So yeah, this game is called Visionarium, and we can go ahead and peep out the Steam page for this. Hold on one second. Okay, so let's go ahead and bounce over here. So this is Visionarium, and what happened is every once in a while I will get a developer that will randomly email me, and they'll hook me up with a code for something. And they'll say, you know, we would like you to check this out if you can possibly do so. And if you do happen to be a developer out there and you have a small project and you're trying to get a little bit of love for your project, I'll tell you this. Go ahead, you can email me a code to your project. The email that you want to use is info@vrgamerankings.com. That's right, info@vrgamerankings.com. Now, what I tell everybody is I'll try your experience. I will try it. And if it moves me in some kind of a way, I'll probably talk about it. But you giving me a code does not guarantee that you're going to get any coverage whatsoever. I may not cover your game at all. And it's not going to guarantee your game like an article on the website or like a Let's Play or anything like that. But I'll take a look at it. I will take a look at it, you know, and I'm going to try to be honest with my audience and kind of break things down. And so here's an example of a developer that shot me out a code for something and told me, you know, go ahead, check this out. I think he was actually talking more about VR Game Rankings, the website, hoping to get like an article on the website or something like that. But this is Visionarium. It is a visionary music-driven, it's a visionary music-driven VR journey. In this experience, a visionary trance state is simulated. Okay, so this is going for $9. It released January 3rd, so it's only been out for a little bit. The developer is Sander Boss, which this might be the guy's name. I think it might be the guy's name. The other thing you guys need to know about this is, well, I'll read this right here. It was partly created in Tilt Brush. In this experience, a visionary trance state is simulated. The Oculus Touch controllers lets you paint beautiful and spectacular particle streams while you're floating from one dimension to another in this immersive experience, guided by a soundtrack from one of the best sci-dub artists on the planet, Kalia Scintilla. Okay, and if you're not up on your side dub, what the hell have you been doing? What the hell have you been doing? So I tried this out, guys, and when I got in there, my Oculus Rift controllers were not working. They didn't do anything. I kept getting this message, this like binding message, something about my Xbox controller. Excuse me. And one of the things I think I have problems every now and then with different apps by leaving my Xbox controller connected to my computer. Because sometimes what happens is I leave my Xbox controller connected and I'll go into certain apps and I guess it notices that there's an Xbox controller connected, and sometimes it like defaults to that. And then I'm using the touch controllers and I forget all about that. And I'm like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? So when I played this, I actually did not use my Oculus controllers at all. And all I did was basically watch an incredible music video. And it started off really slow, but man, did it get hyper trippy after a while. And you know what? It really put my brain on tilt. And I had to quit out of it because I was headed for some major motion sickness had I stuck with this. But it is hyper cool. It really is. And if somebody could stick with this all the way, and if you're not bothered by motion sickness at all, this is absolutely tripadelic. It is real. It's kind of like going down that road of like really trying to trip you out. And it does a damn good job of it. And it was super trippy. And I got maybe about 18 minutes or so into it, but I had to flip the damn thing off because what happens is you're watching it and it's like, you know, like these things are like zooming into these other things and then they're wrapping around. And if you really follow it with your eyeballs, you're like, whoa, okay, this is not right for my head. I got to take this headset off. And so that's what I did. Now, the developer of this product, of this app, says that there's these like waves of light that are kind of like flying through this entire experience. And he says if you start to get motion sick, just follow these like laser lights that are kind of flowing through. Just follow them for a while and then get back to the experience, and that'll help you avoid motion sickness. And I tried to do that, but at a certain point, it just gets too darn trippy and I had to bounce out of it. But that is Visionarium. Would I recommend this? Man, well, you know what? I would recommend this for those of you that are really into psychedelics. And I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that are into psychedelics. Although, you know what? It's funny. Back in my college days, I'll admit it, I tried some psychedelic stuff like 30 years ago, 20 years ago or whatever, a long, long time ago. I have tried some psychedelic things occasionally, like once or twice in my entire life. And I'll tell you what, the last thing I ever wanted to be near when I was doing that was anything electronic, anything mechanical. I wanted to be out in nature. For some reason, if I was near like electronics, like TVs, I didn't want to be anywhere near any of that stuff. But that's like 25 years ago. But anyways, I'm sure there's people that are into this kind of thing, and you might want to check it out. $9 is a bit on the pricey side for what essentially is a super, super trippy music video. But hey, somebody's got to make money eventually, right? You know, we've got to make money eventually. People do, anyways. Okay, so that is Visionarium. All right, let's see. What else did I want to get into real quick here? Well, you know what? We can go, let's see. Let's go over here to another Steam page, Compound. So Compound, you know, here's a game that came out on May 15th of last year, had a lot of hype coming into this game. This was a beloved demo that everybody ranted and raved about this demo. Everybody loved the demo of Compound, and everybody was like, oh man, this is so retro, this is so cool. And then the game came out and it was priced at $20, and a few people, myself included, were a little bit taken aback because we kind of thought, 20 bones? Really, bro? Really? This is more of a $14.99er, maybe a $12.99er, or maybe a $9.99er. And like, I have never bought Compound. I've never played the full game. And I'll fully admit that a big part of it is the price. I think 20 bones is a little bit high for this because I've always felt like the demo has most of the juice already. And yeah, there's a little bit more stuff that's going on in this game besides the demo, but not a hell of a lot. However, a lot has been added. This game is in early access, and Bevan McKechnie is the individual dude that is making this game, and he continues to bang away on it. He continues to hack away at this thing and improve it. And so let's go ahead and check out some of these recent updates. You can see here on January 11th, massive overhaul, New Year's update 0.20, and then just recently on January 8th, there is a 0.21 performance update. So there have been some things that have been added to this game. I believe there's some new enemy types that have been added. Some performance improvements have been added. So a number of new things have been added to Compound recently. So you might want to check it out if you bought Compound a long time ago. See, here's a railgun stalker. This, I believe, is one of the new enemies that have been added. Rapid fire attack drone. He says, I have ported Compound to the new Steam VR 2.0 API. And, you know, so new enemies have been added, dual wielding has been added, support for ambidextrous controls, new teleport mechanic, knuckle support, new music for the executive level, you know, and a bunch of different things have been fixed and improved and blah, 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 blah. And also new new adapted controls for Windows mixed reality controllers as well. So Compound has been updated. You might want to check it out If you bought it a long time ago and you haven't played it in a long time, that has been updated. All right. What else is going on in the news? Well, again, well, actually, hold on. Let me check some of chat here. Let me go back to chat. And before we get too far along here, let's see. Some people are talking about me, about Xbox controllers. So let's go ahead and see what people are talking about here. I Am Rut says, Anthony, get an Xbox One controller with a dongle and your issues disappear. You know what? So I got an Xbox One controller with something. I forget what I got it. It came with something. And I ended up selling it just for money, but I still have the dongle. But yeah, I would need to get another Xbox. I do have the dongle. I actually have the dongle, but I don't have the controller. And then Kev Gretz says, Psydub? What the F? Yeah, you and me both. Like, I don't know what Psydub is either. I'm assuming it's like some psychological trippy dub music, brah. That's what I believe. Sparhawk says, yeah, playing games, Xbox controller is default, but you can change that. VR Spry Guy said, I almost had pancakes this morning for breakfast, but I remembered I don't do pancake anymore, so I made an omelet. And Paradise Decay says, I always take my Xbox controller out before VR and using touch. Yeah, I just leave it connected, which is probably a bad idea. In fact, I think that's the problem that I was having. You know that thing, Dark Days? I kept having this problem with Dark Days. I couldn't get into Dark Days, and I believe that was actually the problem. Having my Xbox controller connected, it automatically defaulted to that. Paradise Decay says, I wonder what Visionarium would be like after a few beers. Well, you will probably see those few beers make a reappearance into your reality if you go into that after a few beers. You got to be careful with that. And Techno Glitch, no, we're not going to even read that. Let's see. They call him Trippin' Tony back then. Yeah, you know, we're talking like once or twice, brah. It was back in my college days, and I didn't inhale. I did not inhale. VR Gamer says, just say no. Oh, Lethal Weasel VR. Yeah, you hyped up Compound Forever until you saw the price. Yeah, I did. And you know what? Maybe I'm a little bit too price sensitive. But see, I remember how I was before I ever got any game keys. And I don't want to change into this privileged guy that gets all these game keys and doesn't remember what it's like for the little guy out there that every single month you got a certain amount of money. See, here's the thing. It's not about being poor. It's not about like, oh my God, you guys are so poor. Why don't you just buy the games that you want? You know, why are you into this poverty thing? People got other things going on in their life, like video games and this kind of entertainment. This is not the alpha and the omega. This isn't everything. I mean, people have mortgages. They've got kids. They're trying to save up for their kids' college education. You know, they're remodeling a bathroom in their house. You know, people are doing different things, and some of us just can't throw unlimited money at Pimax headsets and freaking, deluxe audio straps and TP cast adapters. You know, some of us just can't buy every little thing that comes down the pipe, and some of us can't buy every little game that comes out down the pipe because we've got these other considerations. There's other people, not just us, that maybe we have to take care of and deal with and other considerations. And so I am a bit price sensitive. And yeah, when this did come out at $19.99, it was like, really? Really? $19.99, really? And see, I haven't seen it on a major sale either. Has Compound ever dropped down to $9.99? Because I think if it dropped down to $9.99, I probably would have grabbed it. Okay, so anyway, let's continue to move on. That is Compound just getting an update. Okay, what else did we want to get into? Well, you know, one of the things, speaking of being a little bit broke and pinching those pennies, we like to check out the Oculus daily deals. So let's go ahead and see what today's daily deal is. If I can find it here. Okay, here it is. This is the daily deal. It is Evasion. Evasion is going for $30 on Oculus. Now, this is a 25% discount, so you save a 10 spot right here. This normally goes for 40. Now, I personally would say that this probably should maybe be the normal price. I don't know that Evasion is that banging of a game that it can command the 40 for an extended period of time after its launch. But, you know, it is $10 off. So if you've been looking to grab this, but it was just a little bit too expensive for you, this might be your opportunity. We do have about 11 more hours left. Let's see, when did Evasion launch? October 8th. Yeah, so it's been available for a little while. This is one of the biggest games to come out in the year 2018 that I've never ever played. I've never played Evasion, and I have no take on Evasion. But yeah, it is a pretty big game that is out there, and it is the daily deal. You can save a 10 spot on there. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I Am Rhett says, Evasion is a great bullet hell shooter. And it's interesting because when I look at video footage of Evasion, I don't think bullet hell shooter, but I guess that's kind of what it turns into. Let's go ahead and go back to our standard scene over here as a super trippy visual does play on the screen there. And, you know, one game that I did see today, and this was the background for my thumbnail image, there is a game called Little Einar. Little Einar. Not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but it has left early access, and it looks like a pretty interesting platformer. And I do have the trailer for it, so let's go ahead and check out the trailer for Little Einar, and we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. So let me go ahead and grab this trailer. It looks kind of cool. All right, that is Little Einar. And yeah, it's a platformer, and as you can tell by watching this trailer right here, and you know, it's a low resolution trailer. It's not like the most advanced thing that we've ever seen here before. But what they're doing here is it's platforming, but it's like you're up against a wall. So it's kind of like as you continue to go through levels, it's like there's a wall here, and a wall here, and you're kind of platforming along a little bit like Witchblood in a certain way. Now, Witchblood is kind of like this diorama that is laid out in front of you, and you kind of like look a little bit this way, look a little bit this way, and it's like this diorama. This is kind of similar, but instead of just making a one-plane diorama, they're going more with these walls here, and the gameplay is kind of confined to basically the three primary walls, to your right, to your left, and then right in front of you, and kind of going around like that. It definitely looks very indie in nature. Like, I don't think Moss or Astrobot or Carly and the Reaper Man or any of the platformers that you guys know about in VR, I don't know that they have a lot to worry about. However, you know, we're not exactly swimming in platformers in VR, traditional kind of platformers, and this does look to be kind of like a traditional platformer. Looks kind of cool. You're collecting a lot of coins and stuff. I'm kind of a sucker for platformers because I grew up in the era of like platforming games, and you know, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, you know, the classics. I played so many platformers and still have a lot of love for platformers. And a lot of people think, why would you want to play this in VR, man? This ain't VR. Like, you're not in the world. You know, who cares about a goofy platformer? But for me, when I'm playing some of this stuff, I feel like little holograms are running around. And, you know, you could get close to it, kind of look, and it's like, look at this little guy running around. And it's cool to me. And I also like just the pure gameplay ability. Sometimes it's almost like a comfort food. You get into these platformers, you're just hitting the buttons, you're jumping, you're kind of going back to your Mario and Sonic roots. And it's kind of like a comfort food. And, you know, it's not too bad from that standpoint. Let's go ahead and check out the Steam page here for little Einar. Let's check this out. So switching over to the Steam page over here. And yeah, a virtual reality platform game that plays along walls in your virtual space. Now, release date is January 18th, which is yesterday, but that's actually when it came out of early access. And I do believe this is a bit of a problem, folks. We need to have one release date and stick with it. We gotta stop changing these release dates. In my opinion, your game is available. The second you start taking money for your game, it's available. It's out there. I don't care if it's in early access or early schmaccess. If you are accepting cash money from real customers, your game is out, period. End of story, end of line. Your game is out. It is out and it is available, and that's when it really released. So this didn't actually release on January 18th, but I never heard of this game. Like, this game missed me. Like, I don't know anything about little Einar. I just found out about it just recently because I went into YouTube and did my classic search, VR trailer, look for something new, and I saw this little Einar thing and I was like, oh, platformer, VR. I love platformers. I love VR. I love shiny, bright colors. I love colorful stuff. Clicked on it, thought it looked halfway decent. So that is what little Einar is. It is going for $7.64. The normal price is $9. It is a little bit of a 15% discount here, and that will end on January 25th. But yeah, it has come out of early access. I don't know when this game originally arrived, but you look here at VR support. I mean, it's supporting the Vive, the Rift, the DK2, Windows Mixed Reality. Now, I did read somewhere that you should use a gamepad. I read somewhere that you want to use a gamepad if you're playing this game. So this would actually be a game where I would want to have my Xbox controller hooked up to it, and I would want to use my Xbox controller when playing this particular game. But yeah, this is little Einar. I think it looks slightly cool. All right, let's see. So, you know what? That is pretty much the stuff that I have for the most part. And now what I can get into is just a couple of little minor things that we can get into here. So one of the minor things we can get into is Ace Combat 7. I have still not played Ace Combat 7 yet. I did try really hard to make a Japanese PlayStation account and to get the demo just to kind of check it out, just to get in there and see what it looks like. And you know what? I got pretty far down the line in getting my Japanese PlayStation account, but I got stuck. See, the thing is, once you select Japan as your territory, then everything changes into Japanese writing, and it's like, you got to follow a guide. And I was following this guide, but I got stuck at a certain point. Like, I made a password, and then I repeated the password, and I put an email in, but somehow it kept rejecting it. So I was unable to get my Japanese PlayStation account. I have not hit a red box yet either, so I have not tried Ace Combat 7, but a lot of people are raving about it. And if you're looking to get the physical version and you're in the United States, you might want to bounce over here to Amazon, because Amazon does have it for $52. Now, that's only a $7 savings. It's not that big of a deal. But hey, if you're looking to pick this up anyway, what's $7 among friends? Now, this is for the physical version. Yes, there is such a thing as physical disc and actual ownership. So you could buy the physical game, you could play it for a while, and then you could actually sell it to another human on planet Earth. It is a novel concept. It's pretty incredible. You can use eBay, or you can use Craigslist, or maybe you just have a little nephew and you want to give it to him for his birthday. You can do that. That is the beauty of actual physical items. And so it is available there on Amazon for 52 bucks. So that is out there. I might actually go check out my Redbox. In fact, after this show, I might drive down and try to bounce over to Redbox and try to grab this just to check it out. It's like $4. Like, Redbox is actually kind of expensive. Like, I remember when renting a game on Redbox was like $2 or something. Now it's $4. It's like, damn, $4. But oh well, probably going to go ahead and do that. So Ace Combat 7 is available for 52 bucks. All right, another thing I wanted to mention very briefly here is Super Amaze Balls. Super Amaze Balls is on sale for $1.69. This is 66% off. It is a special promotion, and it lasts until January 23rd. The only reason I'm bringing this game up is because I know MameFan is a really big fan of this. He believes it's very underrated. I played this on PlayStation VR, and it didn't really do anything for me. But I only actually spent about 10 minutes in it, so I should probably give it a little bit more time. But in the 10 minutes I was in there, it really didn't grab me. But MameFan says that if you play this on like an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift, it is much better. Like, he believes it's a hell of a lot better. That is Super Amaze Balls. You can get it for less than $2. Just wanted to mention that really quick. All right, and let's see here. Jack Black. Jack Black has a PlayStation VR. Oh my God, this is a shocker of shockers. Yeah, so this picture here turned up, and Jack Black is actually, you can see he's playing Pitfall on a little Atari 2600 knockoff thing. But in the background, what do we see? We see a PlayStation VR headset. We see a PlayStation VR aim controller, and we see, I think that's an Xbox 360 maybe. So Jack Black, he's all about that PSVR, and a lot of people are talking about it here on the PSVR subreddit. Yeah, I know that's not real news, but that's kind of what we get into on a Saturday. Yes, he also has a beard, a major beard. All right, so you know what? Stories. I'm all done with stories now, guys. But what we could do, if we want to, we could bounce over really quick to Road to VR. Let's go ahead and go to the main page of Road to VR. Road to VR. Let's go ahead and give this an update real quick. VR game releases for January. Let's go ahead and click on this. Remember, this Tuesday, guys, A Fisherman's Tale is going to be available this Tuesday. So that is a big one. That is coming out, I believe, Tuesday, A Fisherman's Tale. So we are a little bit hyped for that. But they're kind of showing off all the different games that came out. Battle Mage VR is out now. Tabletop Gods. You know what? I think VR Roundtable has a code for this, and they're probably going to want to talk about it, like Gary and Steve and everybody, probably going to want to talk about Tabletop Gods on tomorrow's episode of VR Roundtable. So reminder, at around 9 a.m. Pacific time, join us at the VR Roundtable YouTube channel. We'll have another episode there. So I need to hop into Tabletop Gods and give this game a try. I've heard some good things about it. I have heard some good things about it. Let's see. Visionarium. That I just mentioned that earlier today. Spuds Unearthed. Yeah, that came out. I have not tried that. Don't know anything about it. Flying Aces Navy Pilot Simulator. I tried it. I talked about it. Personally, I would pass. I would pass on that one personally. Microsoft Maquette, it's free. It's very similar to kind of like Tilt Brush and stuff. That is out there. Trickster VR Co-op Dungeon Crawler is out there. Now, I've heard of Trickster VR, but I believe this is kind of a spin-off type of a game. Sunset Giant looks kind of cool. Odyssey VR, Profundum, we've talked about that as well. And A Fisherman's Tale. A Fisherman's Tale comes out this Tuesday on, I believe, all of the major platforms, right? They don't list PlayStation VR here, but I'm pretty sure it is going to be on PlayStation VR. They got a few mobile releases there. Oh, here's the PSVR list. Yeah, they got Megalith. That came out on the 9th. Eden tomorrow, the demo, we did get that. Ace Combat 7, that is out there. And A Fisherman's Tale is coming on Tuesday. They have Scraper First Strike as late January. I think it's more like February or March on that, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, Scraper First Strike, it still hasn't hit PlayStation VR. The month of January is a little bit lame. I'm not going to lie about that, but It's okay because we've got such a backlog of VR games. I know all of you guys got your piles of shame. All these games that you've bought, maybe you haven't even fired them up yet. Hussein X tends to have a big problem with that, buying a hell of a lot of games and not firing them up. So it's kind of nice that we've had a relatively slow month, and February looks like it's going to be pretty hot. So, I mean, there seems to be a lot of games lining up for February. So it looks like it's going to be all good from that standpoint. Okay, let's take a really quick check at Road to VR. Just see if there's any last minute news stories that are popping off. I'm not seeing anything here. I think we've seen all of this stuff before. So yeah, nothing new over there. What I could do is I could take a quick look at some of the subreddits. This is the Oculus Rift subreddit. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see if there's anything major that is popping off. Tabletop Guys, first impressions. So yeah, I might get into this Tabletop Gods later today. I need to download it and check it out. We will probably be talking about that on VR Roundtable tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, not much else is going on over here on the Oculus Rift subreddit. Let's take a real quick look at the Vive subreddit before we bounce out of here. And let's see here. On the Vive subreddit, Tabletop Gods. So I don't know, a little bit of an advertising campaign that might be going on here. And not really seeing a hell of a lot else. All right, well, you know what? Sometimes shaky controls within death. You must have at least 30 characters in your title. That's kind of weird. I've never had problems. Here's the little Einar full release gameplay video. This is where I discovered it. And I was like, oh, cool, a little platformer. Looks kind of sweet. But yeah, let's go ahead and head back over here to our standard scene. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my little outro logo and bounce the hell out of here. If I can grab it. All right, so that is going to go ahead and do it for our Saturday episode of VR 365 Live. Like I said in the beginning, not a lot of news jumping off. It is a little bit slow. Obviously, on the weekends, it's typically like this. But we did check some stuff out. We did check out the trippy music VR extravaganza known as Visionarium. If you want to get, if you want to go on a trip, that will take you on a trip. Compound got its update. Oculus Daily Deal is Evasion. Little Einar looks kind of cool. And Ace Combat 7 is 52 bones on Amazon. And that's pretty much what we went through today. So not a ton of excitement, but oh well, we'll try again tomorrow. So that's going to go ahead and do it, guys, for this particular episode. Again, tomorrow, our episode will follow the VR Roundtable show, typically about 10 to 15 minutes after VR Roundtable concludes, which normally ends up somewhere around 11 a.m. So sometimes we just end up starting at 11 a.m. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend. Get out there, try some VR games, and have a bunch of fun. I will see you guys tomorrow on Sunday. And we have some NFL football that we're going to get into tomorrow as well. All right, take it easy, guys. See you then. Later.